Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second edition of Let's Talk Cape Town Basketball. My name is Jason Mitchell. I'll be your host for the evening. This evening, we're going to look at basketball specifically in Cape Town through the eyes of the fair agenda. Our female colleagues will give us some insight into their views around challenges and issues they face in basketball. I think upfront, I want to say that we've had a unfortunate cancellation of one of our panel members. Teslin is unfortunately not able to join us this evening. Her baby's not well, and our thoughts are with you, Tess. And we hope little one gets better very soon so that we can engage with you and for you to make valuable contributions to the game. Colleagues, friends, guests, everyone streaming in and connecting with us. This is a platform through which Cape Town Basketball wants to discuss certain challenges and create awareness of basketball, not only in Cape Town, but also in the broader public, South Africa, and worldwide, that this platform allows us to. So I'm joined tonight by three colleagues, all being active in basketball in one way or the other. We've managed to find a replacement for Teslin, and that is Faith, who's our vice chairperson of the association, who gladly agreed to join us to contribute to the discussion. So I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give us an introduction of who they are, what they're currently doing in basketball. So Jade Ali, she's the first panelist. Jade, please introduce yourself to the membership.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jade Ali, part of Montana Vikings. I assist with event coordinations with regards to fundraisers, helping girls out. I stepped up a bit, if I could say, in the sense of not being a coach, because I'm still learning more about basketball, but rather as the team spirit, getting the girls connected on a different level rather than just through the sport. It's working as a team, knowing that you need to rely on one another. My journey with basketball started through my husband, who's the avid basketball player, and he has since gotten the boys hooked. So it's the three guys in my household that is running the show with basketball, and it's through their passion, commitment, dedication, and then also with my husband's passion for the kids and just making basketball a positive outlet. I thought I need to jump onto that bandwagon, because to see the difference and to experience the gratitude, to experience just the interaction, the willingness, going that extra mile with no real reward, but just purely because they want to make you proud, is what's keeping me motivated and wanting to get back into basketball again. So no, I don't play basketball. I'm starting to understand more rules, but I'm more there on that level of connectivity to get us beyond just let's play, but to build up them as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Jade. Sumaya, we move over to you. Just a brief introduction of what you're currently doing in the game.
Okay, so I'm Sumaya, and I'm currently the secretary of CTBA. I do play basketball for 2 years, which means like 2 years ago, I didn't know a thing about dribbling or anything like that. I've grown to love the game. How I actually got into it was that my kids said, "Mommy, we need to go to this youth day basketball." They were really starting to enjoy playing. I went, and lo and behold, there I started dribbling and shooting, and we sort of ended up talking about, hey, why don't we have a ladies team here? And I was pregnant, and 1 year later, we actually had a ladies team. So that's how I actually got into the sport. Why I stayed and why I'm still here. The club that I'm with, we are also a community organization with other sports. So it's more also about getting kids involved and having them be involved in something that they look forward to. Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Sumaya. Our last panelist, Faith.
Uh, uh, so I'm from Zim actually. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I started playing basketball when I was 13. It was more of a challenge factor for me. I was looking for a sport at a new school, and I saw this very short guy making tall people do exercises. And I just thought, well, I want to join that sport. I didn't even know what it was. Um, so I went to the sport, and they were playing basketball. So eventually I joined the sport because I felt it gave opportunity to smaller people and taller people, and everybody could be equal on the court. Well, so I thought. So that's how I started playing basketball. And competition is naturally in my blood. So the minute I picked up the ball, it was game time for me. I had to be better than the next person every single day. I think that's been the drive going all throughout. And and I think having opportunities as well. Basketball paid my high school fees. I mean, I managed to get opportunities through basketball, and to be where I am today. I'm not saying it's because of basketball, but definitely basketball has taught me a lot of values, like any other team sport would. But for me, the channel was just basketball. It's taught me so much about things that you don't learn in class. You don't learn how to operate in the working field in class. And the truth of the matter is, if you join a team sport, it actually teaches you how to work in a team, how to appreciate different views, how to sometimes back down, and like a lot of things that I learned. And that's the main reason why I appreciate basketball and why I'm still in it. It's not because I was a troublesome kid, but I do feel that there's a lot of things that basketball saved me from, just because it was present in my life and it was very kind of enforced in my brain that I had to do this. And because of the discipline it also enforced, I think that's why I'm still here. And I believe 100% sport changes lives. It changed my life, and and that's why I stick with it. And that's why I'm still here. And I hope that that can overflow into kids. What I'm doing now, I'm coaching. I'm still playing because I want to play, and I just like being competitive. That's the truth. So that's why I still play. But I'm coaching now because I believe my coach gave up his life. When I say gave up his life, I mean he gave his whole heart to us, and I think that without people like him, I wouldn't be where I am. And if I can do that for a kid, I think even one kid a year is enough.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, ladies, and I think from the word go, I want to say we deeply and sincerely appreciate your contribution to the game of basketball on behalf of the basketball community of Cape Town. I want to say that with the sacrifices that you have made, known and unknown, I don't think our game would have been where it is today. I have noted that some of you said we came into the game because of someone else, a husband, a coach, or whatever the case might be, and that's great. But just for this discussion, I want to say let's forget about them. They are not important. You guys are the focus tonight. We want to explore your understanding, your views. I want to say that this is part of the Cape Town Basketball Association's engagement. It's not just a discussion. It's a way of fact finding. It's a way of defining our mission. It's a way of saying what's next for us in Cape Town basketball in terms of elevating the game of female basketball for our district and for the province and for the country ultimately. So ladies, thank you and thank you for your time and welcome to the discussion. So I think let's go to the root of it. All of these things happens at the club level, at the community level, and I think it is important that we get a sense of how equipped our clubs, our structures are on the ground to promote the game of basketball. So Jade, I'm gonna pose this one to you. So in terms of our clubs, you are involved in a club, you're doing certain things there. Do you think that the club is sufficiently resourced in order to effectively promote the game of basketball? And give us some understanding of what the challenges are for a club to get ladies involved in the game specifically. So on a club
Okay.
level, do we have enough
Okay.
resources, and what are the challenges that clubs face with getting females involved in basketball?
So resources, the physical attribution, which is your equipment. No. I'm yet to come across any club that has the sufficient resources. I mean, if it's not from a simple ball to simple skipping ropes, it's hoops, it's accessibility to a venue that has basketball hoops up that can be made use of. And then if it is something that's available, it's not that it's just readily and freely available. There's a cost tied to it. So in resources, no. But I mean, you can have a resource in the form of your mental coaching, your commitment. Those things are always readily available. There's always someone willing to step in and help wherever they can. But to work on or better your game of basketball, you need the physical aspect as well. You need that ball to dribble with, and not one ball to be shared amongst 6, 7 girls. If the possibility is each girl can get a ball, then that's fantastic. Also, if we look at the fact that it's community, so with community, it's always one spot where it's going to happen. So it's a consistent and it's a confirmed spot. But then we're having the area. I mean, getting to and from basketball training. So getting to training, depending on your age group, is fantastic because it's still bright and the sun is still out, so you're able to walk with your group of friends. But getting home, transport, it's all those factors are influencing. And I mean, females specifically, no parent wants their 16-year-old daughter walking back from training, even if it's around the corner or down the road at 8, 8:30 at night, because it's nighttime. To get females more proactively or willing to come back, safety. I mean, you work with what you have, and I mean various clubs. I mean, I've seen clubs that joined the league, and it's like, oh, do they know how to dribble? Oh, can they do that? But when you see them week after week and the progress that they've made, that don't come from the fact that, hey, I've got a place that I can go and train at, or I've got someone that's fetching me every night, or that I've got a ball to bounce with. That is the emotional aspect of the resources. And the emotional aspect in basketball, it's so profound, that I get goosebumps when I see the clubs pitching up. And I mean, I've seen 12 people get out of a car at one time at the venue, and that's because the kids want to be there. The kids want to be there. So, I mean, resources, give us the physical thing, and I guarantee you, I don't think booming will be able to describe the impact that your physical aspects or physical resources would be able to do. The emotional and mental one is there. Like I say, the commitment from these kids, the sky's the limit. And it's that outlet. And the minute you have that mental and emotional resource, you want to go back because there's that positivity. But if we can get the physical aspects of the resources also just in line with it, the sky's the limit. Absolutely, the sky's the limit.
Thank you. I think that's quite insightful. And I hope the City of Cape Town's traffic department wasn't listening to what you were saying there in terms of the 12 people in the car, because they might be tracking our. I say that I respect that, and I say that tongue in cheek. But I think the two things that stood out for me in what you just said was that the element of safety is critical, not only for in general for basketball players, but more specifically for females, more specifically for girls coming to training, and what can we do as clubs and as the association with our other structures to improve that safety. So Jay, just with that backdrop, as a club member, as someone that works with a club and kids from a community that's underprivileged, what type of support is it that you ideally would want from your district association, provincial association, and other stakeholders? How can people outside the club that's involved in the game, how can we support that process for you guys at club level?
Look, like they say, money makes the world go round. But I don't want to put a rand value to a need. I would rather than say, these are the days we train. From this time till that time, it's this age group. These are the various areas. Step in and say, you know what, we've actually got a school combi that can assist you with us. So we've got a venue. There's no cost to the venue. I don't want basketball to be the outlet of, oh, my kid gets to go there because then I've got 2-3 hours to myself. I want it to be that my kid's going to basketball. This is what's happening. This is how far it's gone where they picked up as a group, they dropped off as a group. It's within a reasonable time. Ideally, it would be that, with a wave of a wand, transport is sorted out. Because the minute transport aspect is put there, safety is no longer, is my child safe? Getting that odd message, my child hasn't come back home yet. Basketball practice finished half an hour ago. It gives that sense of commitment, responsibility, because at the end of the day, this is our future that we're dealing with. These are our kids. They might not come out of my own, but I know that if I just sat, watched A, B, and C training, and they took a walk home, my heart flutters because it's like, did you get home? Are you safe? I mean, there's many a nights if I'm at practice that I will tell them, get in the car, I'm dropping you. There's no way I'm going to let you walk. So transport, ideally, I mean, just that commitment or that assistance, if I could say.
Okay. Thank you. And I must say to you that I get that warm motherly sense in terms of your expressions, and it's always welcome. And again, as I said earlier, we value that. So let's move to Sumaya. Sumaya, so having listened to some of the things that Jade had to say, and based on your own understanding and experience, so how important is it for basketball structures in general to ensure that female players and ladies specifically are mentored through the process so that they can become leaders, they can become the guys that makes the decisions? And I don't say guys with a gender focus, I can say they can become the leaders of structures. How important and why is it important that we get these former players or former coaches into positions of prominence in basketball structures to make those types of decisions and to influence the thinking of the leadership in terms of sensitivity towards female basketball players and the needs of female basketball players?
So the short answer is that of integral importance, that existing or seasoned players remain within the game. Well, because for one, if you are a very competitive player, you don't really just want to stop, you want to continue. And I feel like the knowledge, skills, and what's the word I'm looking for? Just all the experience that they've gained over the years. It's very important for that transfer between a seasoned or experienced player and new players just entering into the game. To all the younger players, I mean, I certainly, I'm not young in age, but I'm young in playing basketball. And I certainly look up to those experienced players. And I imagine our young girls just entering into basketball really do look up to those experienced players. So I think it's of key importance to maintain that skill and that knowledge of the game and of operating within a club with girls, I think it's of key importance that that be maintained within. It's also about how can I put this? Like the history of the organization and of basketball to keep that intact also.
Mm, mm.
The
So
legacy, let me rather put it that way, the legacy. Yeah.
the legacy, that I think that sums it up nicely. So Maya, you've started to answer the second question that I had for you.
Oh,
So I'm gonna ask you that question, but I'm also gonna add another one to it. So having said that, as a basketball administrator, you are currently serving as the Cape Town Basketball Association secretary. Um, what awareness do you think is required for administrators like yourself to effectively plan for and promote the game of basketball? So that's the first question, which I said you partially answered. And the second one is, do you think, being involved in the current structure, do you think enough is being done in Cape Town basketball to elevate the profile of female basketball? And give us some of your thoughts. You know,
okay.
there's no restrictions. Give us some of your
I have a
understanding
little
and insight.
female entering my. Sorry, unfortunately, I can't ignore this.
That's you see, that's part of the challenge.
It's
That's
just
part of the
neutral
reason why we do
basketball.
this. Yeah, they often
Um,
run to mommy, not to daddy, and you know, it places an
yes.
extra burden on our female colleagues.
Yeah, we have to have somebody watching them while we play all the time.
Mommy,
Yes. Um, sorry, baby. So let me just get that. It was about administration and okay. So I feel like for women's basketball, like there was an active league, which is a good thing. When I just started playing, I really enjoyed the fact that there was a women's league. But I've played football before, and it's a lot bigger in Cape Town than basketball. And I feel like basketball needs to be on that level. The participation can really be improved big time. So I feel like we need to really do a bit of promotion, or a lot of promotion and marketing of women's basketball within Cape Town. The how, I don't know yet. I'm sure there are people who are skilled and knowledgeable about how we go about that. But that I think is key, because I think growth of women's participation and girls, and I've seen that it's possible within the club that I've been playing for. We started with only ladies and under 16. We now have under 12 and under 14 girls. So it is possible to grow within the communities, most definitely. I think one needs to encourage those clubs that, I don't know if one can call it a club when it's only one team that's participating in the basketball. So I would say those clubs that have only a men's team, for example, I would encourage those, because they are mostly based in communities as well. I would really encourage those guys to bring their girlfriends or and daughters and just stay in growing basketball in Cape Town.
Yeah. Thank you, and I think you touch on an important aspect. It may not be a female specific issue, but the whole notion of what is a club, because there's a difference. What's a club? What's a team? And very often we have to contend with the fact that, you know, a club is 12 guys coming to play basketball, and that's an understanding that I think we have to promote. But that type of wisdom wouldn't come from men. That type of wisdom would only come from people like yourselves that understands these things. So thank you for that insight. Faith, I'm going to bring you into the conversation. So I know outside of basketball, you are also very active as a coach of other sporting codes, and I think that gives a special dynamic to your contribution to the game. So what I want to ask you is, in terms of coaching female teams, are there specific understandings and values that a coach must possess in order to get the best out of those female players? Give us some of your thoughts around that.
Okay, so yeah, coaching a female team is completely different to coaching a male team. I think the biggest is psychologically. Psychologically, women are physically um, less. How can I say? Um, less agile, if I may say, than the males. However, you are able to get them to do things for a longer period. they are more. They are more. They
Let's
are.
go to last.
Yes, there we go. You took the word out of my out of my mouth. And but also women are emotional beings, much more than men. And hence, to be able to get the best out of them, you need to apply to their emotion. The first thing is everything needs to make sense to a woman. So they need to know why they're doing what they're doing. And for guys, it's much easier whenever I coach guys and I say to them, let's do this, we need to do this, let's get it going. I get less questions than when I coach females. When I coach the girls, why are we doing it, coach? Yeah, but if I pass there, it doesn't make sense. I get more questions when I coach the girls than when I coach the boys, because you need to how can I say, you need to literally apply to their emotional sense, and it has to reason in that manner before they can do things. There's also things that generally people don't think about because they don't apply, they don't seem to apply. Things like sportswear. You need sportswear, inside sportswear, as a sports person to be able to function on the court. You can't run around with one strap falling down. You feel uncomfortable. Your confidence is shaken. There's a lot of things that other people don't think about as well. So we need to be able to kind of come to conversation about things like that, as well as for women. um, for men, maybe most of the time, coming to basketball is an outlet for a lot of things. But for women, it's harder for us to, even within the coming to practice, even though it's an outlet, it's harder for me to talk about the socioeconomic things that are affecting me, the emotional things that are affecting me, the things at school that are affecting me. I need to be approached. And hence, with females, you need, as a coach, you need to have a more personal relationship with your athletes. You need to have a more communication. You need to know your player on and off the court. I think that applies for all, but it's very important when it comes to females, because there are so many things that happen. I've heard a coach say, my player was so amazing, then all of a sudden she got pregnant. And and you're like, what? I don't even know what happened. What time did it happen? And things like that. Like, you don't know what time these things happen. You need to have a personal conversation with your players, especially young girls, all the time. All the time, because they're not, even though they use basketball as an outlet, they're not going to come at you and just split their guts to you about things that they're going through and things that they're facing. I think as well, when it comes to women and girls, a big factor of education is lacking within the not just the basketball, the sports community. No one talks about education from a sports point of view, and how education can eventually impact women much more than it will impact our other counterparts. How finishing school, how being a mom quite early, how being a single mom will impact you as well. So there are those things that we don't talk about, and that we don't tend to think about. But if you are a coach of a female team, once your girls start turning 16, 17, 18, you need to have these conversations with them. You need to speak about it. You can't just go on like basketball is the only thing that's in their lives. Because before you know it, as soon as they finish basketball, as soon as they finish high school, you don't see them again. And so there are many things that, as a coach, you need to think about when you coach females. And I really like what Jade said. When you talk about females, you talk about safety. You can't just say, come to practice and then go home. Who's going to take her home? How's she going to get home? You know, a guy can MacGyver around, but a female, it's either I'm hanging on to Mr. Bo here to take me home every single day, which might sometimes not end up being a good relationship between me and Mr. Bo here, or you know, I'm putting my life at risk every single time going through to the sport. So
Yeah.
I think females really need a whole lot of more sensitivity when it comes to handling them, and their bodies as well. When it comes to handling their bodies, you need to be aware of what body language means. You need to be aware of where to touch and where not to touch. That's also another issue. You know, just being aware that yes, we are all athletes, but this is a female, and their boundaries in terms
Yeah.
of that as well. So I think, you know, just in conclusion, that there's socioeconomic issues, there's emotional issues that affect the women all across the board. There's education that needs to be had as well. So I think these are the very and psychological issues, and I think these are the biggest things that one needs to be aware of when they tackle coaching females.
Wow, thanks, Faith. I think you've opened up so many topics of potential discussion, and I just want to highlight maybe one or two, which I actually one of which I thought about earlier today, and I'm gonna just mention it for now, and I'll come back to you ladies to get your views on it. There is the aspect of, you know, someone, you mentioned the fact that you know, someone falling pregnant, an athlete. So, you know, a athlete, a female athlete getting to the point where they start a family, they have children, and very often what we see in society is that is the end of that athlete's sporting career, because society says you must take care of your children, you must take care of your home that you are now responsible for, you must look after them, and husband goes off and he plays his game and he does his thing. And I want to get your thoughts around that as ladies. And you know, I'll come back to it. I just leave that with you for now. Faith, the other question I want to ask you, so do we have the sense of, I call it skepticism for now. We could possibly elevate it to discrimination, but is there that sense of dispute still, of in basketball specifically, of questions being asked if a female coaches a male team, especially if it's a senior male team? So if it's under 18, you know, in our case, a Super League team or a men's one team or a men's two team, do you as females still feel there's a sense of discrimination when it comes to things like that? What are your views around that, and coaching in particular, Faith?
Definitely. I definitely don't see females coaching males. I think I've seen very few females coaching males, and I can name probably myself, Teslin. Those are the females that I have seen coaching males. You have to be of a certain tenacity to coach males. I don't know whether it's because we're both loud on the court that we were given. For me, it's a more tactical issue. I'm a very tactical coach. I have a certain style of play, but I adapt to what offense and defense is giving me. I adapt to the team that I'm playing against, and I think it took a lot for some people to recognize that, and it took not taking down. That's the wrong word. It took overcoming a very big team with an under 18 boys team to be actually really recognized as a very good coach, right? And I remember as well applying to be a boys coach, and told, you know, you must start with the females. My first coaching job, I coached an under 19 boys team at a school, and I fell in love with it. completely because of my character and my nature. I just feel that, who says that women don't understand the X's and O's of coaching males? There's no difference. Basketball is basketball. Sport is a universal language that everybody speaks. I think the biggest thing is, do you know what you're talking about? Do you know how to coach? Do you know the tactics? Do you know how to be able to, get through a play in the last minute? I think if you know what you're talking about, the doors should be open. At the moment, nobody's approaching us to ask us to coach male teams. And that conversation is just not there. It's not there.
Yeah.
I'm lucky, to be able to be in a team where I am allowed to coach the males team. But I know that most of it is driven towards the females. And sometimes it's maybe because I'm available that I'm coaching the males team on that day or whatever. But I think that there's a big gap nationally, internationally, of women being overlooked. And yet women, I'll give you an example. Wade van Niekerk broke the world record by seconds, many seconds, that had been set many years ago. Do you know who coaches him? As almost 70-year-old woman.
Yeah.
We have a certain way of nature of nurturing people, because it's within our character as females. And I think that one should be looked at when it comes to coaching. Do you know what you're talking about? And if that person knows what they're talking about, give them the opportunity. And I think that this conversation should be ongoing. It should be an ongoing conversation, and it should be something that's spoken about all the time, because that's the only way people are going to listen and hear, if something is continuously spoken about. So I think we need to speak about it more. There's definitely, I can't say there's open skepticism. I can't say that somebody has said you can't coach a male's team, but it's in the action of not asking us to coach male teams. It's in the action of rejecting me for my application to coach an under 15 boys team and giving me a girls team. Why? Give me a reason why you think I'm not capable of coaching an under 15 boys team, but I'm capable of coaching an under 15 girls team. I do think more females need to come into coaching and taking care of females, but I definitely don't see any females coaching male basketball. And it's not spoken, it's just there.
Yeah, and I think that's very often how discrimination is vested in structures. We don't say it, but by everything we do, we are implying that that's the case. And there's a couple of things that you mentioned. You as a coach, you had to the word you used was you had to overcome other team, a dominant team, in order for you to be recognized. So it's almost you have to prove yourself first, and then you will be considered sort of for the next level. And like I said in the beginning, ladies, this is not just we've got nothing to do on a Thursday, let's talk to a couple of people. This is part of our engagement to understand what the issues are. We have an active coaching commission, and one of the mandates that we have already given them before this discussion is go and develop female coaches. Go and find the next, under 16, under 18 provincial and national players in Cape Town. That's what we've instructed them to do. But Faith, thank you very much for your inputs. So Sumaya and Jade, I want to bring you guys back into the conversation, and I want to shift slightly beyond basketball, because I think as sport administrators, there's one admission that we must make. And our admission must be that we want to influence society. We want to build character. We want to build personality, so that the next CEO of a big firm in the country or in the world can be a female basketball player or a male basketball player. In this instance, we're pushing for females. But how important is it? perhaps we start with you, Jade, and then we move to Sumaya, that we use basketball to address other societal
Yes, I,
structures that exist, that says, no, 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 this is for males only. You can't come into this space. When it
yeah,
comes to the academic space, I think someone mentioned it earlier, that often we don't encourage our females enough and say, go and empower yourself, go and become,
yeah,
resourced, that they can't point a finger at you and say, no, but she's not skilled. And you whip out that
yeah,
paper and you say, well, this is Dr. Clock speaking to you, as an
yeah.
example. So Jade, what are your thoughts? What are your views on our role as basketball
Well,
administrators in addressing some of those issues?
so I'm gonna up. You need to tell me time's up, right? Because this is something that I've been trying to get sorted, eh? Look, so I look at our kids, or I look at our females, right? And like Faith was saying as well, it's society, it's a psychological thing that we as women need to take a step back, because we come out of a man-run household where you stand and you wait with the slippers in your hand or the newspaper. That needs to change. Now you can try and change it in a teenager, but they kind of sit in their ways. In an ideal world, what I would love how basketball can impact and change this. Faith, you said you got high school fees paid because of your basketball. I'm trying to get certain schools to go out and look at those kids that is under 12, that's under 14, that's maybe grade 7. Go and knock on their door and say, how do we make basketball bigger or greater, is by starting that process. So we start with them young, we build, motivate, we tell them basketball is your outlet, it's your skill, fantastic, your education, your capability to adapt, your ability to adapt. All those things you learn with education, you learn with being exposed outside of your household, and your basketball is going to be your stepping or your pathway, for example. I mean,
Mm,
varsities, when they come and they do us. I mean, our boys play their hearts out. Sorry, our players and girls play their hearts out, and those coaches are watching, looking, saying, "Oh, that is a player that I want." But it shouldn't be instilled that time. It should be already from young. Because if
mm,
you keep motivated, knowing that at the end of the day, I'm going to be rewarded, the rewards don't just go from grade 1 to grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. It goes from these massive jumps to where I thought I was only going to be able to finish grade 10. I now have my high school fees paid up because basketball is paved that way, but my academics is what's getting me stepping forward. Get motivational speakers. Last night I said Googling South African women basketball players. I think that list was last updated more than 4 years ago.
wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, then there was some Arnold Schwarzenegger type of thing that was supposed to happen this year in May, in Joburg, and they had basketball as one of the sports. And I went onto the website, and hey, that's Houtpay Snipers uniform. That's a Vikings uniform. That is, I was, how is it that the pictures are on the website, but no one knew about it in the beginning of the year if it was supposed to happen in May? So
Mm,
basketball is falling through and through. And as much as you hear of, I mean, look at Banyana done. Nah?
mm,
Banyana, not Bafana. That fight has been coming on how long? These women, they won some trophy, but I mean, they won. It's like I said, you need to prove your worthiness. Voila. Why don't you prove your
yeah.
worthiness? You need to gain that confidence, that motivation, that strength, that education, and that I can do attitude from a young age. And
Mm,
basketball is that paving way because it teaches you motivation, perseverance, because we built to last. It teaches you, I don't know what the word is, not stamina, but where you stick to a program. You need to understand that for me to further in this, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't let society say at 18 I can go out and start drinking. I need to know that at 18 I can be a responsible person and decide to go and drink, or I can understand the impact it can and may have on my game. It's the impact it will have on my life, the impact. We need to address those types of things as well, because how do you break a cycle? How do you break a cycle? You need to intervene. We need to intervene. And I mean, I would love the opportunity to have a program that starts with your younger player, age category, you age group them, because it's no use you have a 12-year-old with a 14, 16-year-old. They're not going to want to learn or try and know the same thing. But we as women need to empower them. We need to stay constant in their life. We need to stay present in their life, because it kind of makes them feel good that when they see you after such a long time, they're able to say, Jade, I got an A on my math. And it's like, fantastic, I knew you could do it. So I might not be there, but you're always present. And if you can be present in that positivity, the sky's the limit.
Oh, thanks, Jade. And I was more than happy to not worry about the time with your input, because I knew we were gonna get gems from you. So Maya, I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Your professional background also exposes you to youth. You're an academic, and we are extremely happy and lucky to have you, I believe. What is your view in terms of how we can use basketball as a tool, and specifically focus on the academic space, perhaps that you are qualified in? Shall I just say that?
I've actually thought of that, and within the tertiary institution that I work at, we actually encourage certain what's the word I'm looking for? I can't get to the word now, but there's about 4 or 5 things that we encourage within our graduates. And so some of these things you can actually find in the sporting space or in the basketball space, like working collaboratively or working as a member of a team, which is something that you learn on the court or in your, but something that you can carry with you into your tertiary education and into the working world. And then also, I've thought about how basketball, the skills, the knowledge that you learn. And then also your individual strengths, finding your strengths and focusing on your strengths to be a better contributor to your team. So these are all things that we even encourage in graduates at the university. So it's skills that your kids from even age 12 up to men are probably cultivating within basketball that can benefit them for a lifetime, really. Within the space of coaching, and I've only assisted with coaching. We also try to cultivate life skills. So, like Jade was saying, we actually take. Sorry about the background. We actually take time each coach with their team before they train and do a little either quick talk or check on the players, and after the training do the same. Because I found, or we have found in community clubs especially, the kids or the girls also more especially come for that attention, that being a part of something, almost for having a cheerleader also to some extent, because the coaches actually become that to the player. You praise them and you acknowledge their little achievements. Anyway, I'm gonna get carried away. But yeah, I really think, especially for young girls, as I've seen in the community where we are active or playing, it really, like it says, it really does make a difference in their lives. And some of those kids are so excited, like they rush to come and find out, when are we playing? When are we training? Auntie Maya, they come and hug you. And so there's a different kind of exchange with the girls that are playing. It's something else. It's not just the sport.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, thank you, ladies, for that insight. You know, when I look at the time and I realize we've literally run out of time already, and we could probably go on for another 2 or 3 hours. And it, yes,
I'm so sorry to cut you, but I just, Mayor, in terms of what can be done within the structures now. And I think Cape Town basketball has started off very well with forming a women's commission, a commission for women and girls. And what I do employ is that the women in basketball get behind it, and that they volunteer to participate in it, to be able to be the solution to their problem. I think we can talk a lot about it, but we need to walk the talk. We need to walk the talk as women. We need to participate more. We need to be the ones watching the things that have to do with female basketball. We need to be broadcasting it more, because there's less than 10% of sports media forums show women's sport. So the only way that it can go around is through social media, and women are the biggest participants of social media. And I think that if they are able to speak more in terms of that. So I think Cape Town basketball has started off on a good note by establishing this commission, and I really hope that we can get some people passionate about it, that are going to head it up and that are going to run with it, that are going to do projects that are female and girls orientated. And I think that's a step in the right direction as to what is being done now, that will help females and basketball to go forward. So I just wanted to add that point to what is being done at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Faith. Yes, Sumaya, you want to say something?
Sorry, I've got a question that somebody wants to be anonymous sent to me via WhatsApp. They are unable to link onto the live. And the question is, as a basketball coach for females, how do we as male coaches keep them motivated and focused on the game? That's his question. It's a male coach who's coaching a female team, and he's
So it's a male coach coaching female players.
Yes.
Is that the question? Yeah.
He's
Okay.
asking how to keep them motivated and focused.
Okay. Does any ladies, do any one of you want to respond to that one?
It's Faith, I'm going back to you. We are emotional beings. If you speak to me in a certain tone, dude, man, I'm not going to listen to you. I mean, that's one of the reasons I didn't play, because my husband was coaching. And I told him, I said, if you shout at me, you're sleeping on the couch. There's a line that you don't cross. But if your relationship is solid with your team, it shouldn't really matter, because psychologically we prepared in the sense that this is about the game. This is not a personal attack. This is, you keep whatever snippets, whatever off the game. And to keep me motivated, would be, so you messed up. What are you going to do about it? Not you messed up, get off, go, sit, go, think about what you've done. You're not dealing with a child, and I'm sorry to say, but girls at the age of 12, I don't think they are children anymore. We don't know what circumstances they come out of or anything like that. So some of them are well matured, very, very, very much too early. But it's those biggest levels that you need to gauge. Because it's also like I said, we built to last. Boys are built to break things. We don't break things. We know we need to wake up tomorrow morning and still go and make lunch for everyone and still make sure that this is done and that is done. And with this women's commission, like I'm so happy you said that we need to keep the momentum going, because the first thing that came into my head was, what are our university teams doing? How are they contributing? Because they come from those clubs. They know the struggle. Why don't they adopt a big sister, small sister mentality? Because that way you're constantly in someone's life. It's someone other than my teammate or than my coach. It's someone that's actually, taking an interest in me. We're not
Yeah.
asking for you to pay school fees. We're not asking you to feed clothing. All these things, just give them time. And that is all that girls want.
Yeah.
That's all that they want.
Any Faith, maybe from your side towards the question that was asked?
Yeah, so basically, people look up to role models, and especially kids and youth. They look up to role models and they want to be them. And so, having females in a structure helps to let other females and girls know that they can do it as well. And so, I would say that to every male coach that's coaching a female team, find a female compatriot that can speak to their issues. If you are not if you're finding yourself unable to reach to them, because the truth of the matter is that you will need to reach to them to keep them motivated. So I'm sorry to say this, but I do not like the use of the word focus. When you say to kids, 6-year-olds, focus, focus, they don't know what you're talking about. They have no idea what you like. Psychologically, they don't know what you're saying. And
Yeah.
to be honest, women are almost the same. It's not our focus that's off. It's that you don't understand.
Thank
And so we are very focused, but our focus might not be what your intention is. So I would say that let's get more women helping in terms of managing clubs that have females in them, just to help the males as well. So this is not to take the males out of the structure and say, because we do need males coaching females as well. But involving females within the structure, in getting an assistant female coach, or making sure that your female captain is quite involved within their players, so that they can be able to keep them motivated in that way, and also making sure that you're always doing stuff with your team. A team that's divided you're not going to get anything out of females unless they feel invested. They have to be invested emotionally, financially, every
mentally.
element that you can think of. So you have to do more things that make it feel like a family, and that will keep your girls coming, and it will keep your teammates, like they will continue to be motivated, if I may say so. So I think that's the way I would respond to that, coach. Get somebody in there that can understand them if you're struggling, and get the team captain to be more in cohesion with your goal, to be able to translate it to the rest of the team in a way that that they can accept as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, and do stuff together.
Yeah.
That's basically
Thank you, Faith. If the question wasn't answered, Sumaya, you can just relate to your contact that we are more than happy to engage beyond this session. We have a women's commission established, and we have a coaching commission established. So it is important that these platforms are used to ignite some of these conversations. So if the question wasn't comprehensively answered, then just ask your contact to make contact with these commissions. He can still remain anonymous if he chooses to, but ideally we would want to know if it's one of our members who we are engaging with. So, ladies, that was, I think, an extremely good start to this conversation, and in my mind, a start to the conversation of the rollout plan for our Women's Commission. And perhaps I can use this platform to just say at this point in time, currently our Women's Commission is headed up by Faith. She's our not only the head of our Women's Commission, she's our vice chairperson. And the likes of Jade has agreed to join in the Women's Commission going forward. We are doing everything we can to get members on the commissions and not the exco driving it. But where we are, we decided it was sensible to start the process off and to hand it over to people as we progress. So every other lady who's out there, Rebecca is also part of the commission. She's agreed to continue there. But every other lady out there, doesn't matter where you are, how old you are, if you're on Cape Town basketball, you are more than happy or more than welcome to join our commission. So ladies, just in wrapping up, I'm going to ask each of you in a minute or two, max, perhaps to just for final words and thoughts, not only on the topics that we've discussed, but also on just the role of females in basketball in Cape Town specifically. Each of you can maybe just, like I said, in a minute, 2 minutes perhaps, just give us some closing remarks, and then we will round up our discussions. Jade, if you're happy to go first, then we can start with you.
So, Faith, you said it. You stayed in basketball because of the commitment your coach had shown. And that's something you wanted to do or strive to do and continue to do. That is the message that I would like us to relay, love, and inspire our young females to do. We need strong women like you, Faith, you, Sumaya. We need that prevalent, available, and also known. We need that because that is your role model. That is going to be, I aspire to be just like her. She's so inspirational with what she says. Faith, you had me hanging on every word you said. It was like, can you please not stop? You are what? Yeah, you what our girls need to hear and see. Forefront, standing there, center stage with your soldiers behind you. And if I can be a part of that with you on this journey, please sign me up because you've got me motivated to want to do this and so much more. And if it's just one child in a year, then we know we've done it. That's mine.
Thank you, Jade. I don't think you're sleeping on the couch anytime soon. Thank you for your contributions. Faith?
Yeah, so I think the biggest is just to get females to promote female sport and to promote female basketball within Cape Town. So I really hope that there will be more females that will watch this and will actually spread the word. And you know, encouragement from them in terms of what do they want to see and what do they want to hear and what do they want to change. And I think having conversations more around that will help to build whatever we can build from here going on forward. And I'm so grateful that we have women like Sumaya, like like Jade that can come in and have these conversations. We have a lot of experience within female basketball in Cape Town. If I look at all the clubs, we have a lot of experience. Some of the women I play with, I see them in netball when I coach netball. Sumaya is talking about soccer. I'm in the women's regional league. I see how big soccer is. I know how big soccer is because I am in it. And I also see the impact of athletics. I see the impact of other sports that are really big. And I just want the same for basketball in Cape Town. And just having the men come behind us and just support us in that way, by continuously allowing us and giving us the platform to be able to air our views, but also contributing, like Jade said, contributing in such a way that we can have the resources to be able to pull through what we need to pull through. I think that's very crucial. Without resources, we can't do anything. We can't do a lot of things. And so there's a lot of things that we do need to address, to be honest. But going forward, I'm very confident that we'll be able to do so if we all come together and continuously are able to come to the same page. We're never going to agree on everything, but one thing's for sure: we want basketball to go forward. We want more females to be promoted. We want them to do well when they're young, when they're in college, and when they are older. And to be able to do that, we need to have a platform to be able to start the ground off. Yeah, so I'm just grateful for the opportunity, to be honest, to be part of the whole process, and to be part of sport in Cape Town. And I look forward to the future. And I look forward to Jason, you keeping your word in terms of just making it all about females. So I will be looking at that. um, but yeah, I'm really just grateful for this platform, and going forward, I hope to see more females, and hear from more females about what we can do. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you,
Just fell off.
Faith. Did Sumaya? Okay, she seems to be joining us again. While she joins. Oh, are you back?
Yeah, yeah. Everything
Okay.
is.
Sumaya, over to you.
So for me, it's been really awesome participating in this discussion, and also participating in basketball over the last 2 years. Yes, only 2 years, but I feel like it's been an amazing 2 years in terms of learning. And I mean, I'm now the secretary of CTBA. I had no idea that would happen. But I really look forward to the day where we've come to a point where we have maybe 32 teams strong women's league, and clubs where every club has male, female, and girls and boys teams within CTBA. So I'm not only talking about girls, but just growth in general within basketball. I feel like through basketball, instilling some good characteristics and good qualities within our girls, giving that ambition and that competitive edge to take forward in their lives. Yeah, I think I'm talking like vision of a future in terms of women or girls basketball. Yeah, I would just like to encourage any women out there that have not yet tried basketball to give it a try. I've tried it like 2 years ago. It's been amazing. And to also promote the growth of basketball within Cape Town. And for clubs to maybe associate or affiliate with schools in the areas as feeder schools to grow your clubs or your teams. Yeah, what else can I say? Yeah, I'm really excited about the next season. I can't wait to be able to also get onto the court and to see all the other ladies and girls be active on the court. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Sumaya. And I think all the inputs has been invaluable. I've made a couple of notes here, and our commissions are listening. And I think there's definitely a wealth of information that we've gained just by talking to 3 people. And we've got hundreds of females playing basketball in Cape Town. So we couldn't, unfortunately, have all of them here. We would have been here till Christmas, I think. But at least we could get the valuable inputs that you guys have registered with us. Just in closing and in summing up our discussions, we commit as the Cape Town Basketball Association that the prioritization of female basketball will be one of our cornerstone activities for the next 2 years. That has been it has been defined as one of our strategic goals, and it is important that we will follow through. And what we've done tonight is to gain insight into how to approach this, and it's really just a starting point. I also want to say there are many ladies out there making contributions to the game. Many. Too many to mention. And ladies, I want to encourage you to keep going. You are not doing this for any other person or individual. You are doing this because of the gift and the skill that you have possessed. It's your contribution to society. Yes, other people benefit by it, structures benefit by it, but it's your value that you are adding. And I think when we all operate on that basis, then it's an internal locus of control and not the external. So it doesn't matter what Jade says about me or Faith says about me. I do my thing because it's my thing ultimately. And that's what I want to encourage, not only our female compatriots, but also just everyone in general. Ladies, I just want to round up by saying that I have communicated this gathering to a couple of people that's out there. The MEC for Cultural Affairs and Sport in the Western Cape, Andrew Murray, and she has been informed of this, and we will hope to engage with her going forward for our game. I want to say thank you to the likes of SAFA Cape Town. Coincidentally, there's some compatriots there that fights the same battle we fight, and they saw the need to promote this activity via their social media platforms. So to Bennett and the team, I want to say a big thank you for your support. And we are watching. I often in our engagements just say we are happy to be quiet when you speak and listen to you guys and follow suit. And then also there are extremely influential ladies, not only in society but in sports specifically. I think of Ilam Groenewald, who has come from the Cape Town area specifically. She is one of the first female members of the South African Rugby Football Board, SARU, and she's currently serving on the SASCOC board. Ilam also acknowledged the activity that's happening. She didn't say anything about it, but the point I want to make, ladies, is that we are not just kicking in the sand today. We are really elevating our game and saying to people of influence, this is basketball, it is our time, and we want to be heard. Whether you like it or not, we are going to be heard. And we want to ensure that our sport continues to take its rightful place in society. So to everyone that listened in, I saw a couple of messages popping up. We will look at all of them. Where we didn't respond, where your topics weren't covered, you are more than welcome to engage with us on our social media platforms. We will be back here next week. And I can say already now that next week we will discuss a couple of the technical rule changes which was recently approved by FIBA. I think it became active in the month of October. So we will get our technical commission, our coaching commission, and our competitions commission on the channel to chat to us about what the impact will be of these things. Ladies, thank you very much for your contribution. Everyone that tuned in, everyone that supported the process, thank you very, very much. And we see you all next week. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.